Please be good. Please be good. Please be good. Please be good. So Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the Harry Potter prequel spin-off movie. It's also now apparently the first in 5 movies in this new Fantastic Beasts Wizarding World series that J.K. Rowling's doing. And in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, we meet Newt Scamander. Newt Scamander is what they call a magizoologist. He goes and he collects all these fantastic creatures. He's writing a book about them. And then one day he's in New York. He runs into Dan Fogler, who's a no-mage, like a muggle in Europe. No-mage, non-wizard, no magic. You get it. Some creatures get loose, and now we have our movie. And I gotta say, this is one of the movies I was looking forward to the most this year. I think I've done more videos, like if you count the Harry Potter reviews I've been doing, I think I've done more videos about this movie than I have on any other movie since I've been on YouTube. So if the pressure was ever on for a movie to be good for me, this is the movie. And now the almighty question comes, was this movie good? The movie is good, but it's not as good as I wanted it to be. But starting out with what I really liked in the movie, the majority of the cast I thought was really good. Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. He is everything I pictured Newt Scamander to be based off what we know of him from the Harry Potter series and from Pottermore. He's kind of a loner. You can tell he gels better with these beasts than he does with humans. That's not to say that he doesn't like humans. Humans just don't understand these beasts that he's collecting, while he does. There's a couple of times in this movie when the humans are being really afraid of the beasts and he's trying to tell them, stay calm, they're not trying to harm you. At times he reminded me of Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon, or even Professor X from the X-Men series. He's just like, guys, these things aren't monsters. And Dan Fogler in the movie, his character's name is Jacob Kowalski, I actually really liked him. He was one of the ones I was a little nervous about because I was like, yeah, the guy from Balls of Fury in Harry Potter. Okay. But no, the guy did a good job. He was likable. He was funny when he needed to be. I thought he was going to be more of the bumbling sidekick character. And while he does fall into that at times, he was still a relevant part to the story. Rounding out the crew, you have a pair of sisters, Tina and Queenie. I thought both of them were pretty cool. I liked Tina more than I liked Queenie, although Queenie still had some cool moments in there. And Colin Farrell, I thought he was the Shaw character from the trailer. No, he's actually a character named Percival Graves. He was good in the movie. He's not in it as much as I thought he was going to be based off the trailers. But when they do use him, I thought he was really cool. And when I was talking about the trailer and I said, why is Colin Farrell using a wand? American wizards don't use wands. Well, it turns out most of the American wizards in this movie had wands, so I did some digging in Pottermore, and I guess they do use wands, but they can also do the Scarlet Witch Jedi type of magic. So they have wands which came over from Britain, but it's also, I guess that makes sense, because America's a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures, so it makes sense they take some of the European stuff and mix it with the Native American stuff. Ezra Miller's character in the movie, I was a little torn on. In the end, I do like what they did with his character, but for most of the movie, before the last 20 minutes of the movie, the guy has about 5 lines in the whole thing. Just kind of mumbles and cries through the majority of the movie, and I didn't really like that. He's one of those characters you're supposed to kind of feel sympathetic towards. I don't really know if it was the script or Ezra Miller's acting. I think he might have been overcooking it just a little bit. I mean, Ezra Miller's a good actor and everything, but there were a couple times when I was like, let's go back to Eddie Redmayne and the Beast. The effects in this movie overall were really good. That was another thing I was a little nervous about, was there being so many creatures that we don't latch onto any of them, and that the CGI was going to be a little wonky because they had to spread this budget so thin. But you never really felt that. There were a couple creatures I was like, it's a little CG, but I thought the majority of them looked really cool, and there were some standout beasts in this movie, like the Niffler. I really liked the Niffler. The Bowtruckles too, those were really cool. And it was cool in this movie how we got to see some creatures from the Harry Potter books and movies that we hear about but don't actually get to see. In this movie, we get to see some of them, and I like seeing those. It gives me like a visual representation when I'm reading the books. Another thing that's great about this movie is that the overall world it sets up is really cool. This is the first time we're seeing, American magic. And I like the way that they set up a culture. I like Makusa. However, some of my issues with the movie did lie in that world building aspect. There were a couple times when I thought they sacrificed parts of this movie in order to set up for more sequels. Like there's something at the beginning of the movie and I thought that was gonna be it for that plot. But then that tied in a little bit later in the movie, so I was like, okay, I can give a pass to that. And nothing is as blatantly obvious as, like Thor's magical jacuzzi in Age of Ultron. But there were a few times when I was still like, why is that in here? That being said, this movie did work a lot better as a standalone movie than I thought it would. Like if this was the only Fantastic Beasts movie that we got, I'd be pretty satisfied with it. Again, could have been better, but satisfied with it. So it's not like they're completely baiting you for the sequel. Like you do get a nice contained story here. However, this was my big issue with the movie, and it's not one that I thought I was going to have an issue with, but it was the overall story and the pacing of the movie. Now by pacing, what I mean is this movie starts out really slow. I would say the first 30 to 40 minutes of the movie, I checked my watch. I shouldn't have to check my watch in a Harry Potter movie. But they're setting up the world, they're getting you introduced to New York City, and for the first 20 minutes or so, I was like, okay, I can roll with this. But the movie didn't really pick up until that 30 to 40 minute mark. Once we got past that point, I thought it was pretty cool, but I was thinking to myself, if we took the pacing of one of the other Harry Potter movies. Let's take Order of the Phoenix, for example. They cover so much ground in that first 20 minutes of the movie. I feel like if you took the pacing of some of those Harry Potter movies, you could have condensed the 40 minutes down into about 20. And that kind of feeds into my story problems with the movie. There's a couple plots in there where if they were in a book, it would be really cool to read about, but I think having them in the movie was just a little too much padding. There was one subplot, you saw it in the trailers, with that lady who's like screaming about witches and wizards and how we need to outlaw them and kill them all. It had relevance to the plot, but it was nothing where I was like, that, I am so glad that was in the movie. Whenever they cut to that subplot, I felt like the vibe of the movie just grinded to a halt. Like when it's Newt and Kowalski and Tina and Queenie and they're going out and capturing these beasts, and Newt's teaching them about the beast and he's getting more connected with the beast, and you see him doing his magizoology type stuff. I thought that was all really cool. But then when they cut back to the society, I believe was called the New Salem Witches. New Salem, Salem 2, it was something about Salem and the sequel to Salem. But anyways, when you cut back to them, it just kind of felt like the movie slowed down. And the end of the movie kind of had some give and take too. I want to talk about that more in a spoiler video. But the movie does end in a way where I was like, I'm satisfied with this movie. However, I do want to see more of this world. I don't know if I want to see 4 movies worth of this world, but I'm excited to see where they go. So in the end, Fantastic Beasts is a good movie that I want it to be great. The movie's got great characters, it sets up a cool world, it's got good effects, it also got really good music. James Newton Howard did the score for this movie. I thought he did great. He mixed in some of John Williams' themes with some of his own new original stuff. My issues with the movie was the pacing and the story. I do have to say though, there was one point in this movie when I thought I'd figured this whole thing out, but the movie threw a couple curveballs near the end and I was like, alright, that's interesting. The movie kept me guessing, but there were still some subplots in there that I was like, I don't care. So I'm glad I saw Fantastic Beasts. I don't think it's as good as any of the Harry Potter movies, but it was a fun ride. It's got cool characters in it, and I think you guys should check it out, especially if you like Harry Potter. So I want to know, did you guys see Fantastic Beasts? What did you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments. And I am going to make a spoiler video for this movie because I got some theories and some thoughts on some of the later stuff that happens in the movie. I don't want to talk about that, so look forward to that spoiler video coming soon. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can click subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys next time. Obliviate!